2 p.m. It is now 5:49. We're going to reconvene back into open session. Next item on our agenda will be our report section, superintendent's report. Ms. McCutcheon.
Okay. My clicker broke, so we're not able to.
Their control.
I'm sorry, what? Oh. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start. Want to say, school board members, want to thank you for your dedication to Waxahachie ISD. January is School Board Appreciation Month, and so we have a little presentation for you, but also at your table, you do have, at your seat, you have a small gift, and the Crayola is actually a USB that does have a video that we were able to put together from all of our students telling you all thank you. And so we're going to share that with you shortly, but the Crayola was there, and so interestingly enough, when we put this video together, in talking to the students and visiting with them, they didn't all really know what a school board member does. And at the end of the video, they just rest assured they all did know. They couldn't believe that you dedicate your time and your efforts for free. And so they were very grateful and very appreciative. So this year's theme is Our Future is Public. And if you watch this video, we're going to take a few minutes and do that. I think our future is right there. And someone earlier said, keep the main thing, and this, I think, will remind us what our main thing is. So I don't know how to start this. So I don't have access.
Like a board for pictures and schoolwork.
Where staff people go somewhere and talk about something.
Where you see other scores. A school board is kind of like where like you take a test and then the scores show on the computer for the teacher. And it's where you put school stuff on it. I think a school board is where you there's a bunch of pictures of people that been here for six years.
So a school board is something where you like keep track of your miles, and whenever like a student or even a teacher gets a mile, they put it on the school board, and if you're in first place, well, good luck with that.
It's probably where like school boards are like, maybe like where like good kids go, like kind of like where they take pictures and stuff. School boards mean you're learning stuff. Something fun.
It's at school, but it's a board.
Like where it has like upcoming events and stuff like that.
A boat is like a ping pong at school. I think it's a phone. A school board is what you learn with it.
Kind of like a TV things that are hanged up to the wall.
So it's where people work and they like do stuff for Felty.
Probably it's like a sign or like a poster. Something that goes in a school that everyone does, every grade.
Thank you, WISD School Boarder, for our staff and teachers, the decisions you make to bring the best people here.
The creativity the school board gives us. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the school board giving us activities and giving us some stuff to learn. I love how they let us learn differently in Waxahachie. Thank you, school board.
Thank you for supporting all of our activities.
Thank you for making the decisions for our athletics programs.
I love being in theater so much. Thanks for supporting the fine arts.
I dance, I do band, and I'm very involved in my school. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody at the school board for making it possible for every student to have fun and learn new things.
Everything you do is just so amazing to make possible here. Thank you so much.
I really love doing partner PE and I want to be a SPED teacher someday. Thank y'all for the opportunities, like letting us be in partner PE.
Hi, my name is Brooks, and I'm in ag and golf, and I'd like to thank the school board for letting us have these opportunities.
My name's Sebastian, and I want to thank the Waxahachie School Board for us having places like this to go and graduate, so we can be successful where we're going after school.
I want to say thank you to the WISD school board for pushing me and giving me this opportunity to be able to save money for college.
My favorite thing about Global is how it really prepares us for our futures and the specific fields that we want to go into. For me personally, I like going to Wildman and being a student aide. I think I get a lot of information from my teacher, and she'll really help me prepare for my future career. So I want to thank the WISD School Board for making that possible.
What I love about Global is how much hands-on experience we get, whether it be going to the hospital or going to around the field sites or even having the equipment here to work on. Gives us a lot of preparation for the fields that we're going into. I love that my teachers not only care about what I learn, but how I learn it, and they care about us as well. I want to say thank you to the Waxahachie School Board for providing all these opportunities that I might not have been able to get if I went to another school.
Thank you, WISD School Board, for really just enhancing all of our traditions that I love so much. Thank you for preserving all of these Indian and Waxahachie traditions. Thank y'all so much for everything you do.
I want to give a huge thank you to the school board of WISD for just allowing the diversity and how much opportunities we have. You know, everyone has a chance to do something they really want to do, and it wouldn't be possible without them. So thank you.
Thank you to make Turner Pre-K awesome.
Thank you, Waxahachie ISD School Board.
Thank you so much.
I thank the school for all the time and the work that they put in for it.
Thank you, School Board, for making Wedgeworth awesome.
Thank you, Waxahachie School Board.
Jimmy Ray loves Waxahachie School Board.
Cliff Elementary thanks you.
Thank you, School Board.
Marvin thanks you.
Turner loves you.
There's a blooper.
All that stuff, it's tracks your miles or something. Yeah, that's all I know about it.
Okay, what do you think they do?
So whenever,
Okay, now we're done. Okay, we hope y'all enjoyed that. Again, just want to say thank you so much for all you do. Also, on your crayon, you do have that video to preserve for as long as you would like. So it's just kind of a play on the USB. It's cute. Okay, moving forward, just want to talk a little bit about our enrollment. This is as of end of semester, December 19th. You'll see our current enrollment was 11,159. And our AD, average daily attendance, was 10,416 for a attendance percentage of 95.24. Also, just a reminder, we do have our next upcoming district-wide recognitions night. It'll be February 2nd at 6 p.m. We will meet at the Fine Arts Center. And those are some pictures from our last recognition meeting, and I think it's very well appreciated, so we're happy to do that again. And then just wanted to let everyone know, one of the things that I'm working on with our PR team is our First Friday Focus. And so every first Friday of the month, we will be having some sort of event for our community. It'll either be in person or it'll be video. So in December, we met here, boardroom, had a couple of folks come in and have coffee with us, and that was great. January's was a video that we sent out last Friday, and so our next First Friday Focus is February 6th, 8 o'clock in the morning. We'll meet here, and you're all invited if possible. If you want to stop by, we will be here. And I think that's all I have. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Anyone?
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, move on to our next report, which will be our Bond 2023 construction update.
Good evening, Board. Ms. McCutcheon. I'm here to give you the May 2023 bond construction update for January 2026. So we're planning to pour the track surface on the week of January 19th at the Coleman track and field there. It should take about a week between the pouring and the painting and all that. Then they'll put up the final fencing pieces that they've left open so they can get trucks in and out. And then we'll be able to use that as well. That will be fully functional then. We're gonna move to Waxahachie Creek. Waxahachie Creek's starting to really take shape. You'll see some pictures here. You're gonna see a lot of the same thing going on through it, but the trades are following each other through this. So A1 and A2, which are the first sections that we've been working on, we're looking to start closing those in, roofing those, and then, like I said, you're just gonna start seeing a lot of the same things, electrical going in there, plumbing, HVAC, we're just gonna start hanging ductwork and stuff in there. The one thing I will say is all second floor, outside of the gym area, all the rest of the building and the second floors have been poured. All those slabs have been poured through the main part of the building there. So it's kind of a big accomplishment there. We're looking to pour some locker rooms around the main gym and the football field house the next couple of weeks. Those are some large pours, probably about 25,000 square foot per pour. So that's about 3 pours we'll be doing there on those. The next big one is the roofing is supposed to start the second week in February, which that'll help start drying the building in, and we can really get to going on the internals of the building. The Ag Barn, we should have the drawings anytime this week. I talked to them today. They're actually waiting for the architect's seal on the drawings. They're all completed. They just got to seal them so they can send them to us, and then we'll send them out for bid through RFP process to bid those. Here's you some pictures. You can see here in the bottom left of that picture on the left there, that is the actual fine arts area. So that's your fly tower. That's pretty much, that is the tallest area in the building. Your gym's going to be really close to it, but that's still the tallest area in the building there. You can see that just above that there in that crane. We can probably go to this one here. You can see there in the bottom right, you can see there, that's that big educational spaces you saw, and then some of that is what I'm calling A1, A2, A3, B, and C. That's those areas all right through there, and that's where we have the 2 floors of educational spaces there, the general education spaces, science, math, all those kind of things in those big areas there, and that's where we're starting to work to close in there. It's going very well. We've had some great weather compared to most of the time when they say, if you want rain and stuff, build a school. Luckily we haven't, but I know some of the farmers would wish we had. I'd have given up some days to get us some rain, but I'm happy that we are where we are. We're going to Prop C. So Prop C, we're going to be bringing you quite a few quotes for jobs to be done in February, March board meetings. You can kind of see a list there of some of them. Some of them be removing some lockers, installing cubbies in a couple of schools that still have lockers in them. There's 3 elementary schools that still have that. We're looking at updating LED lighting, some playground covers, just a whole bunch of different items there. You can kind of go through that list. Those are all the big items that we're looking at, and that'll kind of start to wrap up the big items that are left on the main bond. We'll still have some items that are open that are very small stuff, a lot of like rubber gaskets in the concrete walkways, stuff like that that we'll look at. But this will be wrapping up a lot of the main big items off of priority 1, priority 2. These are touching some of priority 3, but it's a lot of the big stuff left in priority 1 and priority 2, which was the main thing the bond was passed for. A couple of things I want you to remind you of. You've already approved the geothermal units for this summer, the final 2. We did do finished Felty over the Christmas break. They should be starting up those makeup air units this week. We replaced those out over Christmas break, the 2 makeup air units there. And then we'll go and we'll start to remove, change out the geothermal units in both Clift and Howard this summer. Those will be the big ones there. But you can kind of see some of that. And it gives you there on the right, you can kind of see as of at the end of summer, we're going to look at about 78% of the original bond will be completed, and about 60% if we say all priorities 1 through 4, which remember the original bond was only priorities 1 and 2. So we've done a really good job in picking up a lot of those 3 and 4 items through this, and everything so far, Proposition C is under budget and everything we've done so far there.
Mr. Mott, I had one quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
When you say remove locker and install cubbies in 3 schools, are you talking about lockers in the hallways or lockers in the classrooms? And cubbies to me sound like the little places that you, for individuals in a classroom.
Yes, ma'am. So these 3 are all in elementary schools. We still have, in 3 elementary schools, we have lockers in the classrooms.
Okay.
That are not being used. They don't,
Right.
they use them for storage versus for using the kids every day. And they've asked part of it asked if they could change them out to cubbies like you see in some of the newer schools.
Right, thank you.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
just wanted to clarify that.
Any more questions?
Anything from Mr. Mott? Thank you very much, sir. Okay, our report C, which will be our policy update 126. Mr. Coe.
Good evening, School Board. Ms. McCutcheon. In honor of School Board Appreciation, I'm bringing you one of my favorite things, which is a lot of policy. Hopefully, you'll agree. So as we periodically have updates from Texas Association of School Boards, in light of the recent legislative session, there have been many changes, as you can see, to legal and local policies. Just a reminder there that the legal policies are just for your review. I will be touching on one of those towards the end of the presentation. However, we're really going to be focusing on the local policies, which y'all do approve, and we will get right into it. Remember also, as is our practice, this is just an informational session. We will be coming to you at the next board meeting, February, to seek approval on these. So let's get into it. BE Local, although we have made already some of these changes, this one is in regard to the board meetings, having to put the notification out for meetings 72 hours as opposed to 3 business days. Notice there is this addition here about submitting the agenda 10 calendar days. That is because of some other legislation and legal requirements.
Mr. Cagle,
Yes, ma'am.
so you're saying that if we want something on the agenda, we have to get it to Mr. Autry by the Friday before the week before?
10 calendar days before the meeting.
Yeah, so that would be,
Yes.
yes, okay. Just
Yes.
to be clear.
Very good
Thank
question. Notice it also does require roll call voting now. BED, talking about public participation, really this one just says that the presiding officer, which is the president or whoever at the particular meeting, has the ability to adjust the time that public speakers may have, but notice they shall not be given less than 1 minute. CJ, I'm sorry, questions? Oh, yes. Contracted services, notice there's a couple of places you'll see, we'll go over this evening, that talks about here, it's talking about our contractors may not engage in or assign instructional activities that's prohibited by law, noting diversity, equity, and inclusion, and notice violations of this could result in a termination of contracted with that contractor. This CJA was really a change in title. It had said criminal background, and now it just says background. It had said criminal history, now it says background checks. CLE, building and grounds. Again, this was a small title change where it was referring only to flags, and here it says required displays more generally. Technology resources, there's a few here, and it is referenced, as you can see, but this has to do with some moving of language related to AI and alludes to one I'll talk about here shortly. CQB has to do primarily with the renaming of the Department of Information Resources to the Texas Cyber Command, and it also talks about our responsibility to make notifications for cybersecurity incidents, including security breaches, to anyone that may have been affected by that. So the CQD local is a new one, as you can see, where those artificial intelligence training information, both for staff and students, and how the artificial intelligence may be used in the district. That's where this policy comes from. CSA, faculty standards. So here pardon me, board. This one has to do with the designation and use of private spaces according to new laws. Those have to do with, obviously, locker rooms, bathrooms, those types of things. Facilities construction. This one, as you can see in CV Local, I'm referencing CH Legal, where it talks about the threshold for competitive purchasing has increased to 100,000 from 50,000. They removed that and just said legal requirement because that is the new legal requirement. So there's not an actual number now in this policy. And then it also removes or designee because in the referenced policy that has already been addressed that the superintendent may delegate someone. Employment requirements, DBD local, talking about we're required to create administrative regulations to guide administrators to seek board approval for performing certain personal services. So there's been some law and the board has already looked at some of these requests by some of our administrators. Notice, or remember, these are administrators below the assistant superintendent and superintendent level, which are now prohibited from doing those. Compensation and benefits and DEC local, leaves and absences. It sets up a process for calculating the daily rate of pay for contract employees, including teachers, school counselors, and librarians. And then it also has a section talking about how staff can designate paid leave in relation to FMLA concerns. DFBB local, again, talking about staffing, non-renewal of contracts. Staff may not engage in assigning DEI duties as well as instructional activities that are prohibited by law. Notice that if that does occur, the contract employee may face non-renewal. There is a clarity point in there about disability and ability to perform tasks. There's a list of non-renewal criteria. DGBA, grievances board, there's several. So there's DGBA, I'll get to this is related to staff, there's one related to students and the public. There were significant changes to timelines and the processes that the district has to go through in hearing grievances and complaints. I could go into it in much more detail if you would like, but basically that is it. Employee standards of conduct. There's a couple of times in here where it talks about prohibited weapons. In both of these situations, basically what they did is they removed the word Texas, so it has to do with reciprocal laws between our state and other states if someone has the license to carry a handgun. But notice, really, it talks about, again, prohibiting DEI duties, also prohibiting staff from allowing students with social transitioning, and then that it requires us to amend our notification if there is misconduct by an educator. And this has to do with that change from 48 hours to 24 hours. EEP local instructional arrangements, we are required now to provide syllabi and instructional plans, which I know that TLI has done all that. EFA, instructional resources, this one sets forth the requirement to create regulations such that parents may review any instructional materials, including petitions if that is necessary. EHBAF, rolls right off the tongue, talking about video monitoring of special ed areas and a time frame for reporting, again, child abuse. EIA, the main thing in this one, it talks about the timeline in which we have to provide progress reports of students' academic progress, as well as the requirement of having at least 2 in-person conferences, the opportunity to have 2 in-person conferences with teachers. FA, so parents' rights and responsibilities. This was a big thing with SB 12 in this last legislative session, and this policy establishes a parent portal on the website, which parents may submit comments to administrators or the board. So we are in the process of creating that with the PR department and technology. FEF local, attendance release time. So this has to do with released time courses, which is a specific term about courses that may be allowed for students to still have attendance, count as attendance, even though they are attending this course outside of school. Wellness and health services. This policy has to do with now allowing school employees, including nurses, to administer non-prescription medication in accordance with the law. It also changes some terminology about epinephrine delivery systems, as there are now a variety of those as opposed to just an injector. FFB. This is the one where we are required to notify staff if there has been a threat against a campus, so the staff on that campus. FFF. Again, this is a policy talking about if an employee or a service provider is alleged to have engaged in misconduct, the timelines and the responsibility of notifying parents. Child abuse and neglect. Again, this is referencing the change from 48 hours to 24 hours, that we have to report that within 24 hours. F&G, which is our students' complaints and grievances. Again, it's really all about the process of how records are taken, how level 1, level 2, level 3 are heard, and some changes in those timelines for staff. Student discipline, minor edits in the language talking about signage when we have video and audio being recorded. GF, public complaints, timelines related to receiving and responding to complaints from the public. And then lastly, on the local side, community relations. So again, this one was that removal of the word Texas, so it's like this reciprocal gun law situation. Any questions on the local ones? All right, very briefly, board, I've put the actual language, and if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and read through it briefly. So this is DG legal. The Board of Trustees may adopt a policy requiring every campus of the district or school to provide students and employees with an opportunity to participate in a period of prayer and reading of the Bible or other religious texts on each school day in accordance with this section. I've also referenced FNA in the next slide. Notice it says may adopt. In any case, regardless of whether the board adopts a policy under the Education Code, this section does not prohibit a student or employee of the district or school from participating in prayer or reading the Bible or other religious texts during a period of the school day that is not designated as a period of prayer and reading of the Bible or other religious text. FNA says basically the same thing. Again, may record, okay? There is some responsibility on y'all's part, not tonight, but prior to March 1st, there will need to be a vote on whether or not there is a resolution related to these policies to be adopted.
Mr. Cagle?
Yes, ma'am.
How is this different from the minute or two of silence that they currently have?
You know, that's a very good question. It does seem like this is a more established and longer period. But we're still kind of seeking some guidance, some legal guidance on this. I'm not sure how many boards have approved such a regulation or have not, but obviously they all will be here in the next month or so.
So you will be coming back to us with how many minutes is required now?
There is no minutes requirement that I am aware of. It's just a set-aside daily time for prayer or reading of religious texts. And it is not required that we adopt that, but there must be a vote one way or the other.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And lastly, I know that this just looks like a big DNA strand, but This is a reference just for y'all and for anyone else who's interested of all the legal policy changes in Update 126 from the recent legislature. And finally, again, board, this is just an informational presentation. There were several things in your board book. Please don't hesitate if you have questions about any of these policies to reach out to me or Ms. McCutcheon, and certainly we'll do our best to answer those questions and give you any sort of clarity that you might need. Any other questions?
Anyone? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, our last report will be our mid-year financial update. Mr. Calden?
Thanks, sir. Good evening, board, and thank you for your service. Good evening, Ms. McCutcheon. I'm going to walk through a mid-year financial update for you. Agenda, just because it seemed like a cool little slide with the stethoscope. Okay, disclaimer. I usually hate presentations that come with disclaimers, but the purpose of this is to give you a topical update of where we are as of December 31st. It is not a guarantee of how we're going to end the fiscal year. I do my best to give you where I think we're going to be for the fiscal year, but full year results could vary wildly. We could end up with a whole trove of additional students enrolling tomorrow, pretty please, or we could end up with bad weather that may lead us to some additional expenditures we weren't planning on. So just from the general outset, so we're all on the same page, a couple of ways that we can improve financial results. One is we can increase revenues or the realization of revenues. And the way we're funded in the state of Texas, that would be through average daily attendance, generally beating our budgeted expectations. ADA is calculated by multiplying student enrollment by a weighted attendance funding. So for the vast majority of our students, there is no additional weight that would go with it, and so that would be every day you're here is a 1, take the total number of school days to come up with your average daily attendance. Some students do come with additional weighted funding, and so you might see an ADA that would exceed, we call it weighted average, WADA, weighted average daily attendance will exceed our average daily attendance because there are some weights built in for certain students. Another way to improve financial results would be decrease expenditures. We've talked about this numerous times as we go through the budget. Staff payroll and benefits are our most significant expenditure, making up about 85% of the budget. So any significant changes that are going to be made on the expenditure side are going to have to start with staff and staffing levels. To give you a general idea of where we are right now, our significant revenue sources locally, those are property taxes. And so right now we have a budget of $63.6 million for property tax revenue this year. Through December, we've collected about $27.5 million, which is about 43% of our budget of property tax revenue for the year. 43% doesn't sound great, except when you start comparing it to previous years. Last year, we were about 39.8% of our budget through December 31st, and then the 5 prior years to that had a collective average of just under 35%. So property taxes, again, they're not late until January 32nd, if you will. So by the 31st, they're still on time. There's no penalty, no interest. So for the most part at this point, you're going to get some corporate payers, as that would be an expenditure if they're that operating fiscal year or calendar year, if you will. And then a lot of them are going to be mortgage escrows at this point. You have people who are going to wait to pay it. And when I was in public accounting, that would be a recommendation to people. If you want to itemize your deductions, pay your property taxes twice in the same year. That's one way to help you get there. So one year you would pay it by January 31st, the next by December 31st. All individuals are on that calendar year. So that would be one tax strategy that may be at play here. I don't know that for sure, but 43%, we are beating our historic average over the last 5 years through December 31st. The other big significant source is state revenues. We anticipated ADA of $10,581. Our fall semester ADA is $10,415. We're about 166 behind our budgeted expectations. To put that into financial terms, that's about $1 million. So the funding level is $6,215 per ADA at 166 is going to be about $1,034,000. This is the one that gives me a little bit more concern than property taxes, because I joked originally saying, you know, pretty please, we hope we have a huge influx in enrollment. Traditionally, that's not how this works. Traditionally, our influx of enrollment happens from the start of school through about Labor Day, and then from here, we see steady. We might see a little bit of trickle as we have students who complete their requirements for graduation through school of choice. We actually will see enrollment decrease over the remainder of that spring semester. So I don't anticipate a large movement in our favor as it relates to pupil funding. The other side of this coin is it is average daily attendance, and we just started into cold and flu season. So I anticipate that, as Ms. McCutcheon told you, our attendance rate was about 95% through December. I do anticipate that to be lower. It's traditionally held that attendance rate is not 95 in January, and it definitely is not in February. But we start picking back up in March, April, and May, and so we will hope that our lows are not extremely low and that we can get back to 95 or better in March, April, and May to help increase our ADA for the year. So want to look at student enrollment. So this is an area that as a district, realistically, we've struggled. We have not budgeted full demographic projected ADA from student enrollment, but that doesn't mean that we haven't still experienced some struggle also. Demographic projection for this year was 11,617. Actual student enrollment is 11,182. We did not budget 11,617 for student enrollment. We felt that that was a little too ambitious of a target. We didn't fully budget it, so that variance is 413 students. I told you on the last slide, our variance right now from budget is 166. So you can see there was some conservatism built in when we were building the revenue budget. We did not go to the full 11,617. I want to give you just a general snapshot of Ellis County as a whole. If you take snapshot day, which is the last Friday in October, from last year for all of the public schools in Ellis County, we generally had about 39,300 students. This year, 39,370 students. That's not a very significant gain in a population that's growing, or in a county that's population is growing as fast as Ellis County. 61 students is not much of growth in public ed in Ellis County in 1 year. Also, to kind of put that into perspective, Region 10, our region goes pretty much all the way up to Wichita Falls. There's about 130 districts in Region 10. As in a whole of the region's student enrollment from 23-24 to 24-25 grew less than 1%. It grew 0.85%. So when you are hearing other districts, we're talking Frisco, we're talking Fort Worth is not in Region 10, but there are other districts around us that you would expect. The DFW Metroplex is growing significantly. We would expect enrollments to be growing. That's not the common held trend throughout all of Region 10 and all of our DFW area. So our enrollment struggles are not unique. We're not the only ones that are facing this, but it is something that we are continuing to monitor. The next slide has a clever little title on it that I'll get to in just a second, but I wanted to give you kind of a chart of where our projections and where our snapshot have been. As you can see, in 2021, we were kind of coming out of the pandemic, so our delta was a little significant, but then we started getting pretty good in 22-23. I honestly can't tell you what changed in 2024 and 2025, but I know that our delta from expected enrollment to snapshot enrollment is getting bigger, and so that means we're going to have to be more conservative as we are budgeting for revenues going forward. Until we can start more in line matching that enrollment trend, we need to make sure that our projections are not exceeding or not causing us significant financial hardships going forward. So is this a one-year hiccup or a larger trend? I thought it was pretty clever. So on the left, you have a chart that shows you the live birth rates per 1,000 people in the United States. Bad news, you see a negative or a regression in birth rate in the U.S. Right now, that the first low blip would be the 2020. Those children would be roughly 5 years old. That kind of shows, you know where we are right now. We're seeing a decrease in the birth rate. There's a minimal increase in that birth rate in 2021, and 2022 holds steady. But I would point you out to 2023, the current 2-year-olds that we'll be seeing in roughly 3 years. That's even lower than what we experienced this year. So it looks like there's a little bit of a enrollment stagnation on the front lines for us for the next couple of years. The bit of good news, and I made this joke earlier when I did this for the district leaders, the only good news that I have in this entire presentation is the birth rate in 2024 and 2025. We're starting to see that birth rate go back up, which is fantastic news. That means that newborns to 1-year-olds, there might be a few more of them than we were anticipating. And so coming off of the really low birth rates for current 2-year-olds, looks like there might be a little bit of silver lining going forward. Again, this might be a couple of year hiccup, or it might be a trend. We're going to have to monitor that, but we know that birth rates have been declining since World War II. We did not anticipate that it would be such a steep decline between 19 and 20, but that's kind of where we are, and that might be some of the explanation of our enrollment. Did want to show you this other chart though. As much as I just told you that could explain our enrollment, it may also not explain our enrollment because it's an overlaid chart. The line shows you birth rates in the state of Texas. The bar is Ellis County specific over these couple of years. The purpose in showing you this is Ellis County does not correlate to the state of Texas, so any vast conclusions that I could draw for you and tell you, hey, the light's at the end of the tunnel, we know where we're going, I really don't. Because Ellis County has seen increases in that birth rate and in that population over this 5-year span, which is the most recent data I could find from the Bureau of Vital Statistics. But the state, you'll see a marked decrease and then some increases and then a flatlining. And so I don't know that those are necessarily correlated, but this is the data that we are looking at and also our demographers are looking at to try to help with those projections of enrollment going forward. Okay, gone are the charts. Now it's a lot of words. So kind of to put it in perspective of where we are today. Right now, elementary-wise, I have 5,940 functional seats. When I say functional, I mean it's roughly 85% of my maximum capacity at all of my elementaries combined. So functionally, 5,940, kind of that sweet spot of where we're going to have pretty good, pretty full-size classrooms, but we're not going to be overcrowding on our campuses. Total elementary enrollments right at about 5,173 students. So you see I've got almost 800 open seats right now to functional capacity. Typical elementary class size, this is a preponderance of our elementaries. Our new standard would be 800 with a functional size of about 750. But our majority of our elementaries right now are about 550 class sizes. So to put that in a different light, I really don't have a need to build Frankie Lugette Elementary right now. I have almost the entire capacity of Frankie Lugette as open seats to functional capacity, not even maximum capacity right now within our district. So board, my strategic advice to you going forward, we hold off on building Frankie Lugette. That will make our problems worse as a district as we try to staff and maintain an elementary that will just add additional open seats within our district. So we're going to continue to monitor, look for potential rezones as needed. We don't want to overwhelm one elementary campus for the expense of another. But right now, there's no need to rush out and build Frankie Lugette Elementary given where we are total capacity and total elementary enrollment-wise. Now, the next one is going to dive into it a little bit different, so I'm going to try really hard not to confuse anyone. Total elementary seats right now, so I have a teacher in place, but I do not have the maximum 22 students in that classroom or 25 at a 5th grade level. Right now I have 587 open elementary seats. Again, that typical elementary size is about 550. Just hypothetically speaking, if I were to go out and look at a typical elementary, I'd be looking at about 26 teachers, 10 other professionals, 5 paraprofessionals, 12 auxiliary. Overall, I get to a staffing cost of these 587 open seats of roughly $2.95 million. almost $3 million. To put that into a different perspective, to take that $2,945,000 and divide it by 1,700 staff members, that's roughly a $1,700 per person increase that we are tying up in additional open seats, staffing for additional open seats at our elementary level. I'm not here to tell you that we can ever get zoning perfect and that we could reduce that. What I'm telling you is that with our expectations of enrollment, we have hired some staff that right now we have some open seats in our district. If you look at the chart, Mr. East has prepared a chart that shows these seats at every campus. There's generally 9s and 10s as you go throughout the chart. They just add up to a lot of open seats when you add 6th grade levels at all 10 of our elementaries. Also this year, we've experienced some difficulty hiring qualified personnel in some areas, specifically special education. You may remember that we brought you a good number of contracts right there at the beginning of the year where we were unable to hire qualified candidates on our own. So we had to go through a staffing agency. To date, those costs, we anticipate that to cost us about $800,000 over and above hiring those individuals on staff. So going through that contract is going to be more expensive for the district in the long term. That $800,000 will come back here in just a minute as we reconcile this at the very end. Elementary is not the only place. We could also look at recovering some FTEs and some costs through secondary campuses. The district had a legislative budget board audit, I believe, back in 2011, and the recommendation at the time was through the elimination of block scheduling, we could recover in excess of 24 FTEs. That 24 FTEs, if we assume they were all teachers, I really don't know what that makeup of FTE was, but if we assumed that was all teaching positions, then that would yield about $1.7 million in cost savings. How do I get to that general idea? I have not seen the audit report from the LBB, but generally if I have 3,200 students needing 8 classes and my teachers are teaching 6 sections with an average class size of 25, I would need about 170 and a half teachers on the year. So it's just a mathematic equation. If I change one input and say now my teachers are teaching 7 of 8 instead of 6 of 8, 3,200, 8 sections needed per student divided by 7, still a class size of 25, I yield a need of about 146 teachers. That's a delta of 24 teachers, which would yield that $1.7 million in savings. If I did not reduce my staff at all, and I have 3,200 students needing 8 sections, and I have teachers teaching 7, and I know that I have 170.67 teachers, so I'm not going to eliminate any of those positions. Your class size average would drop from 25 to roughly 21.43 students on average, so about 3 less students per class with the existing staff that we already have. All the considerations that as we go through budget time, this is what district leadership is going to be looking at as we start repurposing existing FTEs and look for whether we really need to add additional FTEs based on our enrollment. So the next big rock on the horizon is the opening of Waxahachie Creek High School. Board this past year, you told us priorities going into 25-26, Tier 1. So the most important priorities were propose a balanced budget, increase pay for all staff, but we also had a Lumpkins practice field improvement that we were unable to put funds to after we did priorities 1 and priority 2, or A and B within that Tier 1. So my question to you is, how do you want us to address these preferred items that we were unable to address within the budgeting process? Would you like the recommendation to go into fund balance? Would you like for it to continue to be a budgeted item going forward? Would you like for us to seek alternative funding options? So that's kind of our big rock as we look at that one project. But also to remind you that as Waxahachie Creek opens, we're going to need to do some work within our district. We're going to need to make sure that we have some representation of bison, that we have some inclusivity in the end zones, that Waxahachie Creek is not scoring in the Indians end zone or the Indians end zone with the WHS athletic logo in the middle of the field. We will need to do some renovations to the actual field, which it is getting close to its end of life, so it'll be about time for us to replace it anyway. But there's also some repair and some resurfacing work that needs to happen to the track over at Lumpkins. And then we need to talk about locker spaces and what we're doing for both schools. And then we also need to talk about the mud room. That may not be germane at this point. That might be a further down the road. In all, we also need to address facilities for WHS so that they are comparable to Waxahachie Creek upon the opening of Waxahachie Creek. As you may remember, back in May of 23, Proposition D of the bond was to provide fieldhouse facilities and additional spaces at Waxahachie High School. That proposition was unsuccessful, but the need does not change for us to get students out of the need to travel back and forth to Lumpkin Stadium every day for practice, whether they're football or whether they are cheer. I can see that I've got some comments or questions at this point, so I'm going to pause. Yes,
I have
ma'am.
one. So what year will we have varsity athletics for the Bisons what year will we have varsity?
So
teams?
the school opened 27-28, and they will open in the second year of a realignment. So 27-28 would be a junior varsity schedule for them. 28-29 would be that first year of full realignment. So that would be their first varsity year. So 28-29, to answer your question, Ms. Kriegel.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. And we're definitely going to continue to pursue that. This question, while it is kind of addressed in that situation specific, is really more general for the board. If we do have those priority items that we can't fit within the budget, would you like for us to work on creative solutions like that? Continue it in the budget, or would it be a priority of the board to look at deficit spending?
I'm always for creative solutions as long as they're not to the detriment of the community or the people and we're doing things above board. But if we can save that money there, then whatever money is not spent there, the district still has for projects that may not even be on this list.
Yes, sir.
Just the general financial health of the district.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Do we know the total cost of all this over here on the right, with the bison and the repair and all that?
No, ma'am, I do not at this point. It's not something that would have to happen for the remainder of 25-6, but we can start getting with our athletics teams to start getting those quotes for us.
That sounds like a lot of money.
I believe it will be. The last time we replaced the entire playing surface, the turf playing surface, I want to tell you it's about $460,000 over at Lumpkins. So I would anticipate it's at least probably $500,000 for the turf if we replace the whole thing. As far as replacing logos and replacing end zone, that I really don't know. The track, I don't have a good guess for that one either.
So I think you have to continue to look for creative solutions. Fund balance should probably be your last option. However, when you talk about replacing turf or playing surface, that's a safety issue.
Yes, sir.
So safety issues should probably take precedent over anything else. So I would use that as my realm of thinking as you move forward with this.
I appreciate the input because we share that line of thinking in terms of safety first. Just wanted to make sure that we were kind of in a line and in agreement there before running forward with proposals and bringing that to your attention.
I think that a good solution may be a combination of two. Maybe trying to keep doing the work until the budget is complete, in addition to looking at additional funding for the project.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Calden, is there any way that we could work on the dressing rooms and the unfinished mudroom? Could any of that work be done in-house?
Yes, ma'am. To the extent possible, we can definitely look at doing that in-house. We'll also need to look at kind of timeline of when that's going to be a mandatory thing. some of that really relates back to the bullet right above it. Once we address what that locker space is going to look like for both varsity teams, that'll really tell us what that timeline is for that mud space. If there's not a workable solution to share one locker room as the mud room's being renovated, then that may necessitate an outside contract. If we can do more of it in-house, there may be a little bit more of a share between two varsity teams as that work's getting done.
Yeah, we look at two varsity teams sharing it, but we also have the challenge of all of WHS being there at the time, freshman, junior varsity, and varsity. So, you know, that's something else to look at as well. Getting them, like you say, keep from having to commute back and forth. We're looking at two varsities sharing it. I think the first hurdle, again, is to get WHS from over there so that two varsities can share it.
We definitely have some opportunities to address. So, all right, rolling on. So we talked about our lower ADA from budget of about 166, and that yielded about $1 million in lower revenue for the year. We also talked about our increased expenditures, about $800,000 from contracts. Right now, at December 31st, I would tell you I think we're on budget, on par to run about a $2 million to $2.5 million deficit for the year. I know that $1 million plus $800,000 is not $2 million, but like I told you a minute ago, I do anticipate our ADA to slow down in January and February, primarily as we get through more students being out for cold and flu. Traditionally, it picks up as we get closer to the end of the school year, but I would rather be wrong and us look at more of $1.5 million deficit for the year instead of telling you $1.5 million and it ends up at $2.5 million. That's a different conversation. So right now I do think ADA is going to slow down a little bit in the spring semester just with illnesses. So I am trying to be a little bit more conservative, telling you that I think we'll be about a $2 million to $2.5 million deficit for the year. Any questions?
And this was, oh, excuse me.
What is our deadline for starting construction of Frankie Luchette?
Ooh, really good question. So in May of 23, taxpayers approved the referendum for Proposition A, which gave us a 10-year authorization to issue the debt for Frankie Luchette. So we have until May of 2033 to issue the debt. From there, the arbitrage rules would start coming into play. So I got about 3 more years after that. So we're really looking at about May of 2036 before we would start having some adverse components of not having that debt in place and that, or not having the debt issued in that building in place. Realistically, that's a 10-year authorization. So if we delay the original build from 2024 to 2028 because of growth, that's still well within the operational or the authorization approved by voters. Not to say that we would need necessarily that building in 2028, just throwing that as an example. So it is a 10-year authorization from the time that it was voted on to have that debt issued if we're going to issue it. Otherwise, it would be authorized but unissued debt.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, did you have a question? Okay. Anyone else? Thank you very much.
I oversold it earlier when I said the only good news I had was the increase in birth rate. The other good news I have is the thank you slide. It means I'm done. Thank you, board.
Next item on our agenda are informational items. There's 4 individual things that are included in your packet there for you to look over at your own time. Moving on to our next agenda item will be our consent agenda. We have items A through L up for consideration. It has been asked to have a little bit of clarification on items G and H before I call for a vote. I think Mr. Zant, Mr. Burkhalter can answer those.
Hello, Ms. McCutcheon. Thank you, and Board of Trustees, and also thank you, Board of Trustees, speaking for HR Department. Thank you for your time. and dedication for our district. So, and also happy birthday, Mr. McCutcheon. All right, so in an ideal world, we would love as principals, and me being a former principal, we would love to be able to get applicants that are fully certified and hire them. But I can tell you right now, even 20 years ago, when I was hired by Ms. Sutton and Coach Ream, I was a non-certified, highly qualified teacher. They took a chance on me, got into the education certification program, and became certified. So with House Bill 2, some of the components, or one of the components is that every teacher has to be certified next year, okay? And I can tell you right now, that's a hard task for all districts. And so what this plan does allow, and TA is allowing us to do, is to apply for a delay of teacher certification requirements. And so by 2029, we will have hopefully all teachers that are certified. That's what the purpose of this plan is for. Okay, so for the current outlook for this, current outlook right now is elementary. We have 360 total teachers, and 47 are uncertified right now. So that's about 13% uncertified. The good news is I just sent an email out to our uncertified teachers. We're going to be meeting with them the next couple of weeks. We've already met with them a few times in the first semester, and many of them have passed their certification test. That's the biggest hurdle when it becomes being certified. And so that's some good news. The middle school has 172 total teachers, 27 are uncertified. That's about 16%. And then at the high school level, 243 total teachers, and that's 31 are uncertified, and that's about 13%. Part of this plan is there's 4 strategies, okay? First strategy being that there's going to be targeted support for uncertified teachers. Okay, we are really doing that already, but it's just providing a plan in paper. Okay, and so what that means is every teacher that we hire moving forward, they have to be a part of an education preparation program. That's a need, that's a must, okay? We would like for them to already have their statement of eligibility, meaning that that program is telling them that they can teach in that classroom, okay? That's whether they've passed their certification test, or they've taken enough college classes that have allowed them to get their statement of eligibility. All right, so we're going to establish some deadlines. We've already kind of started doing that. We're telling teachers, hey, we need you to have that certification test scheduled and passed. Okay, now it's just going to be a must when we start the next school year. We're going to have monthly update meetings where our HR certification specialists are meeting with these teachers. We're already doing that. It's just going to apply. It's going to have a little bit more meetings to involve with that. Mentoring and coaching, hopefully partnering with TLI, having our instructional coaches, anybody from TLI along with us to be able to meet with teachers, supporting them in the classroom and just being that mentor for them. Second, also there's going to be time and district resources to this. One of the things that Ms. Burkhalter did was during our previous, what day was that, Monday, Tuesday, we had iNation, and we had all of our non-certified teachers meet up at the high school library, and they had a full day of working on their certification, whether it be modules, all the courses that they have to do. And we got a lot of great feedback that was very helpful. And so we would like to implement that a little bit more when it becomes PD days, allowing these non-fully certified teachers to be able to do that. Strategy 2 is partnerships with our educator preparation programs. As you can see that we're trying to work with Texas Tech University. You're going to start seeing probably more MOUs, because the more partnerships we have, the better we're going to be able to have a pipeline of teachers, hopefully, that come to Waxahachie ISD. And so that's very important. Let's see, what else? We're going to be going to job fairs, career fairs, college fairs. That's where assistant superintendents of secondary, Mr. Perry and Mr. East, and some of our principals will be going to these job fairs, and hopefully just recruiting and advertising and showing that Waxahachie ISD is a great district and we want you to come here, okay? The third part is our recruitment. It kind of goes along with that, but one of the things that we really need to, we're looking at, and we've already done this in the past, is your Grow Your Own Teacher program. Let me tell you something, it's easy to, it's not easy, but we get a lot of applicants that can be paraprofessionals, okay? And one of the things that we're doing, I know when we're doing these sub-trainings, and is I'm asking, how many of y'all do have your bachelor degree? How many of y'all want to get your teacher certification, you want to be a teacher? Write that name down, and then I'm providing that to our partners that we already have. And so we're looking at doing that. We're already doing that. Getting our pairs that are already here. Because they want to be teachers, then we need to hook them up with a partner and have them hopefully get ready to become a teacher. And so obviously the job fairs, we have a district job fair at least once a year. We've had open interviews job fair. We're trying to gain SPED teachers. We've done that at the first semester. We'll have another one at least this semester. And the last thing is our strategy 4, which is our monitoring and accountability. It's just having those meetings in cabinet, letting Ms. McCutcheon know, like, this is where we are with our certificate, with our teachers that are non-certified. Just having those meetings, holding each other accountable, and hopefully in 2029, we can say we are hopefully fully certified, and we don't have to worry about this. So, pretty much in a nutshell. Any questions?
No, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, sure, of course.
I have one question. On the certification portion, does the District of Innovation tag go away on this?
So it's not as big of a deal as it was in previous. Yes.
And your approval this evening will allow us to apply for the waiver from the state.
Any other explanation needed?
All right, and for H, the Teachers of Tomorrow MOU, this is an MOU that goes with the plan that Derek just talked about. And we'll have more MOUs coming in the next few months to work with other educator prep programs, just like this evening we'll talk about Texas Tech University as well. But this sets up a formalized partnership with the organization to take their students and help us place them in our schools so they can become our teachers.
Thank you.
Any questions? Okay.
Thank you, guys. Okay. I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items A through L.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Timmermans, is there a second? Second by Mr. Cooper. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. All right, moving on to our action items. Action item A is being removed for consideration tonight, so we will move to action item B, which is consideration with possible action to approve a memorandum of understanding MOU with Texas Tech University.
So moved.
We have to have a presentation first.
I'm sorry, I read my board book.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Good evening, Board. Ms. McCutcheon. This evening, we're requesting authority from the board to enter into a final version of the MOU with Texas Tech University regarding our partnership to participate in the Tech Teach Across Texas program. It's a tongue twister. With this partnership, we'll strengthen our internal teacher pipeline by offering additional programs and tracks for our teachers, students, and paraprofessionals to become certified. There are 3 pathways. The first is Tech Teach 2+2, which is a traditional 4-year program. And then Tech 2+1, which is a fast track program for those who already have an associate's degree. And then the third program is the Rater Teach Alternative Certification Program for candidates who already hold that bachelor's degree. So part of this application also goes with the extended teacher certification plan that Derek just talked about. Any questions?
Any questions for Burkhalter? Okay, at this time, I entertain a motion to approve action item B as presented.
Mr. Audrey, I apologize. I was
That's
so
okay.
excited about this
That's-
program.
that's okay.
So I make the motion that we approve this MOU.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Kriegel. Second by Mr. Schofield. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0. And our last action item will be consideration with possible action to approve the stipends for Clift Elementary.
Okay. To continue our improvement plan for Clift Elementary, we're requesting additional stipends for the campus instructional coach and counselor, as well as an increase for the receptionist. Do you have any questions?
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve action item C as presented. Motion by Mr. Schofield, second by Mr. McCutcheon. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0. And before we adjourn, I'm going to take this time to be the last person tonight to wish you happy birthday, Mr. McCutcheon. Also, this is our first official meeting with our new 2 assistant superintendents at the helm. We have Mr. Rusty East and Mr. Jacob Perry. I want to welcome you guys to the administrative team. Thank you. All right. With that said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Kriegel.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pitts. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you.